Did the Philadelphia Eagles get screwed by the National Football League with their 2025 schedule? We're going to talk about that. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And a big reason that I want to discuss this topic, I've seen a lot of people in the comments section for our schedule release video, prediction video. Those of you commenting on some of my posts on social media saying, man, the NFL did the Eagles no favors. And so this is going to be the best video that you'll find on YouTube, doing a deep dive look at all of the intricacies of this Eagles 2025 slate. Before we begin, I'm excited for this challenging 2025 schedule. So if you're with me, it's Eagles against the world. And if you're ready for the Birds to defend their Super Bowl championship, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. All the real Eagles fans will do that right now. As for the Eagles 2025 schedule, let's take a look at it because obviously it sets the foundation and sets the table for everything that we're going to talk about on today's show. Week 1, Eagles at home against the Dallas Cowboys to begin the 2025 season. That game taking place on Thursday Night Football. Super Bowl 59 rematch on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Eagles with a little bit of a rest advantage there because, yes, the Chiefs do play Friday in Brazil, but it's in South America. The Eagles are playing in Philadelphia. Then they have to travel to Kansas City. Week 3, another playoff rematch, this time against the Los Angeles Rams. That game in the snow at the Link in the divisional round, very entertaining. Going to be a difficult game, especially in September against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, given the weather and the opponent. Week 5, Eagles back home against the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, Sean Payton leading that upstart organization, which last year made the playoffs for the first time in a very long time since Peyton Manning was the quarterback in the Mile High City. Week 6, Eagles go up I-95 to play the Giants in New Jersey on Thursday night, so a short week there. Week 7, tough roadie on the road against the Minnesota Vikings, one of the more hostile and loudest environments to play in the National Football League. The second of 2 matchups against the Giants, this time at home in Week 8. Week 9 bye for Philadelphia, falling right in the middle of the season. You'll certainly take that. A good break right in the heart of the schedule. Week 10, Eagles come off the bye to go to Lambeau Field, the cathedral of NFL football, to play the Packers on Monday Night Football. That, too, a playoff rematch from the wild card round. Eagles will play the 2024 number 1 seeded Detroit Lions, who got bounced in the divisional round by the Washington Commanders at home on Sunday Night Football. Week 12, second Cowboys game on the road in Texas in the DFW area. Week 13, Eagles will play host to the Bears on Black Friday. Week 14, Eagles go out to L.A. and play the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Week 15, Eagles host the Raiders. Week 16, on the road against the Commanders on Saturday night. Then the Eagles round out the schedule with going to Buffalo and then at home against the Washington Commanders. And so you break down that schedule and you think about it from a bird's eye view, right? As the defending Super Bowl champions, and for a team that won 14 games a year ago, that's the number 1 squad in the league, the NFL gave the top team a very difficult schedule. Now, the list of opponents for home and away games, we already knew that prior to last year ending. But it's how the NFL puts together this schedule, too, which can also be a direct implication and an after effect of what that team does the prior year. And for Philadelphia, they obviously hoisted their second Lombardi trophy since 2017. And rightfully so, given how well known the Eagles are, the massive media market that they play in, the fan base that is not just in every pocket of America, but is also worldwide, given their brand image and how iconic they are as a franchise, how successful they have been since the turn of this century, and with them drawing massive TV ratings, you're going to be playing in primetime a lot. And so 6 primetime games and a Saturday game for Philadelphia, the Eagles are a huge ratings draw. Whether people love the Eagles or hate the Eagles, they're always tuning in. On the plus side of this tough slate, and especially for myself, producer Chet, and a lot of the football nerds out there, every single week pretty much for this 2025 schedule, we will be seeing intriguing matchup after intriguing matchup. And when all eyes around the country and sometimes around the world are on the Eagles, that exposure, that hype, that intrigue, it's really cool. And so, given the level of opponents on this Eagles 2025 schedule, we are going to be able to watch some of the best coaches, some of the best players, some of the best teams, some of the best quarterbacks all across the National Football League. We will be prone to watching really quality football. What's interesting, but not surprising, is that the Eagles have 5 scheduled primetime games for the 4th straight year. That's at least 5 scheduled primetime games. They have 6 primetime games, and then if you include that Saturday doubleheader on Fox, it's not technically primetime by definition, but it's a big rating slot. So the Eagles have at least 5 scheduled primetime games for the 4th straight year. They have played and will play in, after this year, the 2nd most primetime games since 2000. Really cool to be an Eagles fan. And that's why this fan base, a lot of people are hopping on board of it, regardless of where they live, because the Eagles are a cool team. They're fun to root for, a lot of marketable players. They've been very successful. The fan base is absolutely awesome and very passionate, very knowledgeable, and people want to be a part of that. And I also had this thought when the schedule came out yesterday. Chip and I were having a blast on NFL schedule release day. We had up a couple of documents and we're tracking the schedule, and then when there were about 3 or 4 games left, we're trying to fit the pieces and see which games were going to fall where. And when the schedule came out and I looked at it, weeks 1 through 18, 17 games, I said to myself, if the Eagles can repeat as Super Bowl champions, given how difficult this schedule is, and all of the loaded teams that are a part of the opponent's list for Philadelphia, 2025 could go down as the most impressive NFL season ever if the Eagles can repeat as Super Bowl champions, because it is not going to be easy. As far as some more Eagles schedule takeaways, what I find to be odd, no back-to-back home games at all. And so Philadelphia can't really get comfortable with just kicking it at the crib in the Philadelphia area and being able to play consecutive games at Lincoln Financial Field. I don't like that. If you win a Super Bowl, you should be rewarded with having a few home games in a row. We're only asking for 2 in a row, not even 3. Could we get 2 in a row? Eagles didn't get that this year. They have the biggest jump in difficulty on their schedule year over year from 2024 to 2025. When you factor in the combined winning percentage for opponents from last year into this year, this is the 4th hardest schedule in the National Football League. 11 of 17 games will be against teams who made the playoffs a year ago. Those 6 primetime games and the 1 Saturday game, and 6 of their road games for the Eagles are against playoff teams as well. That's really difficult because not only are you going to hard environments and it's hard to win on the road, you're playing playoff teams from a year ago on the road. The good news is the Eagles do have a rest advantage in 5 of those ball games. And speaking of rest advantage, it's become a popular talking point in this analytical era when we have access to all of this data. And over the last few years, it's been something that I've been following a lot. As far as it resulting in wins and losses, it's really a case-by-case basis. Sometimes, though, it does result in a couple of percentage points as far as teams having a greater shot to win, whether it be coming off of a bye week, going up against a team coming off of a bye week, and all that stuff. It's very nuanced and nerdy. But this is a simple graphic here of the 2025 net rest days. And you will see, for instance, that the Detroit Lions have the number 1 rest advantage in the NFL with 13. What that means is they have a plus 13 difference for the entire duration of the season of rest days, more than some of their other opponents, right? And so plus 13 is great. You see the Philadelphia Eagles there, they have a plus 4 net rest day advantage. And so you don't want to be in the red. For instance, the Niners last year, they were minus 22. This year, they are plus 9. That's a 31-day difference year over year. And for the Las Vegas Raiders, they have a minus 19 net rest day disadvantage. And so you look at all of their games, it features a -2, a -4, a -3, a -7. All of that adds up to be -19. And so an advantage for Philadelphia here is that when you look at their schedule, they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 games where they have a rest disadvantage, but some games and weeks where they have a rest advantage. Their total net rest advantage is 4 days. So again, some very nerdy stuff. You can look into it more if you want. I'm just trying to give you most of the simplified details there. As far as more information on that, we can kind of run through some of the examples. The Eagles will only play one team off of a bye week this year. That's the Minnesota Vikings. But the Eagles are also coming off of a mini bye from Thursday Night Football. And so the Vikings have a full bye. The Eagles have a mini bye. You'll take that. The Eagles will play the Packers coming off of a bye, but the Packers will be playing a home game against Carolina. And so at least for Green Bay, they get to stay in Wisconsin, but the Eagles have that extra week of rest to a certain degree because the Packers, instead of having an off week, they have to prepare for Carolina, though it is at home. The Eagles do have a slight advantage over the Kansas City Chiefs in week 2. The Eagles play Thursday Night Football at home. The Chiefs do play Friday, but in Brazil. And so for the net rest day advantage, that only is tallied as +1 for Philadelphia. But also factor in that the Chiefs are playing all the way in South America and have to travel to Kansas City. The Eagles are playing at home week 1, and they have to travel to Kansas City. And so sometimes the numbers don't always do it justice. The Eagles have a slight rest advantage over the Denver Broncos early in the year, and that Denver defense, one of the top defensive units in the NFL, and Bo Nix, you would expect and imagine that he takes a leap from year 1 to year 2. So that will be a formidable opponent. Week 12, when the Eagles play the Cowboys will be playing on Monday Night Football against the Raiders, and so the Eagles have a little bit of a rest advantage there, even though they have to go on the road to play Dallas in Week 12. The Eagles also have a rest advantage over the Chargers. Philadelphia is going to play Week 13 on Black Friday against the Bears, and so that's a couple of days there with the Chargers playing that ensuing Sunday. Against the Bills, the Eagles do play Saturday. The Bills play Sunday. So that's another rest advantage for Philadelphia by about a day. The Eagles also don't have 3 straight road games. And so while the Eagles don't have back-to-back home games, the plus side of that is that they're not on the road for 3 consecutive games. So again, we're weighing a lot of the pluses and minuses here. Do I think the NFL screwed the Eagles? Not entirely, but I think it is a little bit odd that the Super Bowl champions can't have back-to-back home games. That's just weird. Get your Eagles jerseys ahead of the 2025 schedule, by the way, and ahead of the 2025 season. Get geared up now. You never want to be too late. You want to be swagged up and swagged out with all of your Eagles merchandise. And so you can find jerseys by using this link down below. It'll take you to Fanatics, or you can find other Eagles merchandise. All types of different jerseys available. Midnight green, black, white, Kelly green. You've got replicas and authentic jerseys, men's, women's, kids. Really, whatever you are looking for as far as an Eagles jersey, Fanatics has it for you. For a lot of you who have used Fanatics before, you know how it goes. And the NFL jersey supplier, of course, Nike. So these are all Nike jerseys. Chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. Now that it's the offseason, you can find some really good deals on some Eagles jerseys as well. Current players and former players as well. All right. We continue to move forward on today's show, doing a deep dive look at this Eagles schedule. What I don't like, Eagles are going to play another September game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I know that Philadelphia will be practicing for training camp in Philadelphia. It can get very humid in the Philadelphia area in August into September, but it's nothing like the humidity or the heat playing in Tampa Bay in the month of September, where the temperatures can feel like it's 110, 115 degrees. And it's not just the feeling of the temperature. It's the thickness of the air and that Florida humidity. And so the NFL did the Eagles no favors having Philadelphia play in back-to-back seasons against the Bucs on the road in Tampa, both in the month of September. Ideally, you'd love for that game to be in November or December to give the Eagles a break from being in the cold temperatures of the city of brotherly love. The Thursday night game that the Eagles play is on the road early this year, so it's a short week, but the plus is that the Eagles only have to take a bus up to MetLife Stadium. And so, again, short week, you factor in the rest disadvantage there. Yeah, it might not look all that good, but at least the Philadelphia Eagles only have to travel up to New Jersey, and it's a very easy drive. The Eagles do have a rest disadvantage against the Detroit Lions coming off of Monday Night Football on the road against the Green Bay Packers. Week 18, the Eagles also have a rest disadvantage against the Commanders. This one's pretty big because you get to play this game at home, but it's the second time that you're playing the Commanders in 3 weeks. This could be for the division. Washington plays that Thursday, and the Eagles are playing Washington for a second time in 3 weeks with Buffalo in between. So I'm not going to quite call it the gauntlet stretch from the 2023 season when that stretch was absolutely brutal, but to end the year, Washington, Buffalo, Washington with a rest disadvantage, that is going to be a tall order. And then, again, can't hang out in Philadelphia for an extended period of time. I just don't get what the NFL is doing here. I mean, I can't remember a time where the Eagles haven't been able to have a season where they don't play back-to-back games in Philadelphia. Sometimes human nature, right? It just doesn't allow you to get comfortable. Again, no gauntlet this year. So that is really big for Philadelphia. There's not that stretch that you look at where you're like, oh my goodness, how are they going to be able to survive that? There are also currently 6 1 p.m. Eastern games. I like that personally, especially for our watch party schedule. That is the same amount of 1 p.m. Eastern games as last year. Fans really like that as well, especially for those games at Lincoln Financial Field, because you can tailgate early, go to the game, hang out for a little bit after that, instead of having to worry about getting no sleep to get back to work on Monday when inevitably a lot of people are hungover. In 2023, when the Eagles made it to the first Super Bowl against Kansas City, they only had 3 1 p.m. games. So I look at that as a win. The Eagles also have the 11th shortest travel schedule among 32 teams in the NFL. It's the shortest travel schedule in the NFC East. You think about some of the long trips that they have to make, the furthest one out to LA to play the Chargers, and you're not playing multiple games on the West Coast. That is important for the body. And so to round this out, really hard schedule on paper for the Eagles, but some of these rest advantages are huge, and that shows up with some of the numbers, but as we mentioned, sometimes it doesn't show up with some of the numbers, like travel, like the Eagles playing on Thursday to open up the season, the Chiefs playing Friday, but that's a primetime game in Brazil, and so that travel all the way back to Kansas City from South America going to be a little bit arduous. So I wanted to do my due diligence and give you some very insightful information as far as today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I leave you with this. Do you think the Eagles got screwed by the NFL with their schedule? That is the topic of today's show. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no.